So we're going to go into this market and we're going to trade with small stakes, and those stakes are going to be £10. So if I click up here, you can see £10 on each one of these. We've got the odds display set to reverse, and what we're going to do is go in and scalp this particular market. The first thing, if you're scalping, you want the market to more or less sort of stay in a narrow range. You don't want it flying around all over the place. So if you look at the charts, then that will give you an idea as to what's happening in the market. So we can see the favourite's been backed in. Let's have a look at the second favourite. You can ignore stuff on the far left of the graph because this was hours ago. And you can see that that's moving around tens at this particular moment in time. Rex Imperator is stuck in a traded range between 10 and 12.5. Hoofit is coming in. So immediately you can see, you know, Rex Imperator, if that stays where it should do, then it continues what it's doing, then that looks like an interesting target for us. Because the others have moved around a fair bit, that could be a potential problem for us. So Adam's Ale and Rex Imperator sort of exhibited those characteristics. Rex Imperator looked much more likely to exhibit those characteristics. But, you know, if you can't decide from one or the other, you could always do both if you want to. But also have a look at the traded range here. You can see from the amount of money that's in the market, it's in a fairly narrow range, and this one's in a slightly wider range. But if you look at the amount of money that's being matched at this moment in time, you can see there's 6,600 there, 3,700 here, so there's more money going through on this particular runner. So let's give this a try on Adam's Ale. I'm just going to go in on one side, offer a bet in on the other side, and then we'll see if we can get a decent trade through. So I'm just waiting to see where the very, very short term price movement is likely to be. I can't tell specifically at the moment. But we have two orders in the market. If both of them get matched, we'll make a profit. If neither of them get matched, then nothing happens. So you can see, here we go. There's a little bit of pressure on the price to head upwards here. So we're going to get matched on our trade at tens on the lay side. We've got an order in the market at tens at 10.5 on the back side. You can see we've also got an order at 9.8 here as well. So we have to be, that could get matched as well if we decide to leave that in, or we could cancel that and be a little bit safer. That has actually been matched, but you see the price has gone back up. So we actually have got £20 that we've laid on this side. We did one of those at 9.8, so I may as well take that trade out. And now we just have to wait for our trade at 10.5 to fill. And then we'll have both those trades completed. Just have to wait a little bit before that. When you're trading like this, it makes sense not to overload the market with orders. It makes sense to do one trade and then start another trade, and then another trade, and another trade, and so on and so forth. I'm going to put another order in at 10, because that order's been at 10.5 for a long, long time. So that is very likely to get matched fairly soon, which is what you can see has happened there. We can put another order back in on this side at 10.5. You can see that our order at 10 got matched, but our order at 10.5 hasn't been matched. But we're okay at the moment because it's still trading within quite a narrow range. And, you know, with a bit of luck, we should see the price bump up. My only concern here is there's £425 here, 700 there. So it's going to take a lot of energy to push up and get our order matched at 10.5. But you can see the market's sort of bubbling around at this particular level. Depending upon how much risk you want to take, you can leave that position there, or you can play it really safe and just pull it back down here, because what you'll do is you'll scratch your trade. If you bring that £10 down to the odds at 10, then that trade will net itself off. There will basically be no problem with that. But as you can see, the price has just bumped up again. I knew that would happen. So I can just wait for that order to get filled at 10.5. Again, all the time that order sits there, we're moving nearer and nearer to the front of the queue. It will get filled. So why don't I pop another order in at 10s? And we can repeat the process again and again and again. So we'll wait for a bit of money to arrive. Can you see that big slug of money at 10 there? Big, big slug. That's going to stop the price from coming down rapidly. So I'm going to pop another trade in on that side. We'll wait for both of those to get matched. You can see that big slug of money's gone in the other direction there. And now actually the price has started to accelerate down. But you can still see that we've got plenty of room for maneuver. When this happens, you have to decide, is that a temporary situation or is that a permanent move? And if you look at all of the prices in the market, they're all going sideways. So that's why I sort of just took my hands off, felt pretty relaxed about it and thought, well, you know, off you go. I'm not too fussed about that. But you can see we've done a load of trades there. They've all worked out pretty well. And we've made £17 nipping in and out at 10 and 10.5. So even with small stakes, that's a pretty good result. Now we have to hedge that position, and because we traded at 10s, you can see the hedged amount is much smaller. But there's still 3 minutes left, so we could carry on doing this for as long as we wish if we really wanted to, and start bumping that amount up. £1.62 doesn't sound a great deal of money, but based upon that being 15-16% return on your £10, that looks pretty good in percentage terms. So even though that amount is small, it doesn't really matter in the long term, because over time you would basically increase your stakes, increase the amounts, and the trade that you saw me do there with £10 you could easily do with 100 or more. So yeah, fairly simple trade, and we earned about sort of 15-16% on our £10. It's decreasing slightly now because the price is going out, so the longer we leave it to hedge, that amount is getting smaller, so I'm going to hedge that now. But the net effect is we earn 14% on our £10, which is a pretty good return on capital. But yeah, that's how I would trade at very small stakes. And what we did there was we just picked something that we thought was sort of fairly directionless, and then just skipped in and out on both sides fairly quickly.